virtually among you all. I deeply appreciate the theme of this webinar, working toward sustainable university campus in Southeast Asia. This system is crucial as it aims to enhance our awareness of university sustainability, explore its various aspects, and share best practice, challenge, and collaborative strategies for meaningful change. Ladies and gentlemen, the current vision of Minister of Religious Affairs, or MORA, is to create a harmonious, beneficial, and intelligent society, gradually leading to Indonesia Emas 2045. This vision encompasses three key themes: harmonious or rukun in Indonesia, beneficial maslahat, and intelligent cerdas. Rukun or harmony uh, involve tolerance, equality, and cooperation. Tolerance means respecting and appreciating difference in belief and religious practices without imposing personal views on others. Equally signifies that all individuals, regardless of their difference, are equal before the law and have the same right. Cooperation refers to the willingness to work together, forming a community where everyone supports each other. Maslahah or beneficial means conducting activities for the good of the other and the environment, avoiding actions that harm others or damage our surroundings. Cerdas or intelligence, using our intellectually and cognition to do the best we can do for the sustainable education. In line with these visions, the Minister of emphasizes humanity and environmental perspective. I have instructed all elements of MORA, Minister of Religious Affairs, to initiate and implement programs that uphold human dignity and right while protecting the environment. This aligns with the global goal of sustainability, ensuring a proper way of living together over the long term. Ladies and gentlemen, regarding the idea of sustainable university campuses, which focuses on the well-being of people and the environment, I would like to highlight that MORA offers 59 state Islamic university and several other religious institutions. Some campuses, such Alauddin State Islamic University of Makassar and State Islamic University of Bandar Lampung, are already titled green campuses. In the future, we plan to develop more green campuses. For instance, the master plan for the second campuses of Sunan Kalijaga State Islamic University, Yogyakarta, envisions a forest campus designed to protect environmental components, preserve, preserve trees, and maintain beautiful landscapes. These examples reflect the commitment of all rectors to environmental sustainability within their campuses. It is also essential to raise awareness among lecturers, staff, and students about the importance of protecting our earth and environment. To achieve this, we must offer courses related to environment aspect and humanity, integrating religious perspective and worldwide. This approach known as eco-theology. You know, I have a special program in my period to enhance, to explain what is, eco-theology. You know, our the concept of theology in many countries, including Indonesia, something very, very over masculine. I don't know why, because we know God, uh, I think, especially this is my private opinion, personal opinion. For me, Allah is more feminine God than masculine God. But why why the Muslim people in many places simply very, very over masculine society. We need in the future feminine and feminine perspective, feminine appearance. So this is the meaning of Islam. Islam, also the meaning Islam, being a feminine, being follower of Prophet Muhammad as a modern feminine than masculine. And Allah is a modern feminine God than masculine God. So this is, I mean, eco-theology will strengthen their awareness and motivation to protect the environment. Lastly, also, I hope you enjoy this important webinar and its generates significant ideas and insight of the visit, a vital subject. And also, I would like to inform to you, we have a special program also, the Green Malls. We have more than 800,000 malls in Indonesia. We have a special program to being green malls. Follow the Masjid Istiqlal, Jakarta. We just accept international work from the World Bank, United States. The greatest building in the world today, in last year, 2024, is Masjid Istiqlal Jakarta, and I'm myself as a Grand Imam of Istiqlal Mosque. And United Nations show Istiqlal Imam as the model of green mosque in the world. And not only mosque, but in my program also all pondok pesantren, pondok pesantren, Islamic boarding school. We need in the future also. We have more than 40 to 100,000 pondok pesantren in Indonesia will be program being green pondok pesantren also, include madrasah also. We need in the future, if you visit pondok pesantren and in the most Indonesia in next year, everything change, because we need them as a green building. And not only mosque and madrasah and pondok pesantren, but also we support also for the whole of the Muslim people in Indonesia, or for religious, or for ummah, for all Indonesia, how to protect, how to save our planet also by many types. If we follow the religion, whatever your religion, if we follow our religion, of course we have include also save the planet. And last week also we have a special meeting in Masjid Istiqlal. We invite many ambassadors, more than 40 ambassadors in Indonesia, join together in Masjid Istiqlal, how to save our planet by using religious languages. For me, religious language is very important point to save our planet. If the follower only the formal or bureaucratical languages, I think not so. Yes, I believe it can only, but the most important, we can use religious languages to save our planet. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you so much, His Excellency Professor Nasaruddin Umar, for your times. It's always such an amazing experience to listen to your wisdom. And thank you so much for spending your time as well in this morning for the webinars in front of our audience today.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to our next agenda. So we would like to have a discussions with three of our wonderful speakers here, as well as at the end, maybe we can have a little bit of Q&A sessions as well. And if Prof. Jones is still already here, we can ask some questions for Prof. Jones as well at the end of the discussion sessions. All right, I would like to maybe call our speakers today. First, we have Professor Dr. Insyur Riri Fitrisari. Professor Riri is the chairperson of UE Green Matrix from University of Indonesia. And second, we have Dr. Emmanuel Delacado. Eman is the director at Ateneo Institute of Sustainability at Ateneo de Manila University. And then we have Professor Tuan Sri Dr. Wan Zuhani Saad, Director of Center for Academics, Development, and Leadership Excellence. All right. Now I would like to kick off the questions with perhaps warm-up questions to all of our three speakers. Just in a very short answer, perhaps 2 or 3 sentences, why do you think it is important to implement sustainability in campuses or higher educations? Maybe I would like to start with Professor Riri first. Professor Riri.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Pak Israruddin. Thank you, Prof. Nasaruddin. It was really a great introduction of what happened in Indonesia, because in the last 5 years, we've witnessed that many religious-based university are working always toward UI green metric indicators, in which we have 6 indicators to transform university to look into sustainability as the main focus, as we are using leadership of the university leaders to shape up the whole university to look into those indicators that has been introduced by Dr. John twice this morning. We have 1,477 universities take part in our ranking, and ranking is just the matter of way of making everyone look into sustainability as the main factor. And we know that we have witnessed that universities in Southeast Asia are doing very well. We have 60 universities from Manila, like 50 universities from Thailand. In Indonesia, we have more than 150 universities taking part in this UI Green Metric movement. So movement is very important, meaning that we know that every year university leaders are showing that they are doing a lot of things, starting from designing their university program and operation and maintenance in all indicators, in setting and infrastructure, waste management, water management, transportation, and climate change mitigation for within energy, and also education and research that is going towards this. So in the last 15 years, UI Green Metric have been the movement in the world in which we are using the term of ranking, but actually we have more than 60 events taking place all over the world at the moment to make sure that everyone is presenting and also showing the best platform and best practices that they have done. For example, I can show a little pictures in which we have a lot of things that have been done by many universities, and all the universities in the world are reporting on this with a lot of details, meaning that they would like to achieve more and learn from each other and doing the best thing that they can do out of their uniqueness. That is why I really appreciate today we have Professor Nasaruddin Umar, because in Indonesia, we are expecting that more universities based on religious studies and also pesantren, mosque, everyone are looking into this. Energy efficiency is very important. Water conservation is very important, and that is why also different sources of energy that can be provided from the university can be shown and can be provided in the university. I think that is why we think that university in Southeast Asia is are doing very well, and we invite more and more universities to take part with us, because we are different from other rankings. We are a global movement from bottom up. And it's really good that, for example, last week we have meeting for university presidents in Abu Dhabi, and next month we have student leaders meeting in Budapest. We have more than 100 students. It's a very quota limited meeting for student leaders on sustainability. And this is come from bottom up effort to create future leaders, making sure that our sustainable development goal are keeping up, and we can realize that, although we know that we're late a little bit for this. So I think that shows that universities in Southeast Asia are working hard for making sure that sustainability becomes our major agenda, and we all understand that so many effort in designing, maintaining, and evaluating everything have been done by many universities, and UI Green Metric World University Ranking have been a flagship program from the University of Indonesia from 15 years ago, way earlier than what
Sorry, Prof. Really.
PS and DHF done. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you.
So I apologize. We can come back to that. That's I think very interesting explanations there and answer, Prof. Really. But really for this first round, I think maybe the next speakers, Eman, just give like a very short answer. Why do you think it is important to implement sustainability in the campus? Yeah, Eman, time is yours.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Isra. Yeah. Thank you, Isra. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon. For me, why it is important for us to implement sustainability on campus is that, well, essentially, we do not have a planet B, and therefore we should manage our resources efficiently. And what better way to demonstrate this than in our universities? By doing this in our universities, we are inspiring the future generations and even our employees to carry out these practices in their households. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Iman. Perhaps Professor Wan, just a very quick answer, Professor Wan, why do you think it is very important to implement sustainability in the campus?
Thank you, Isra. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning and afternoon. I do believe that implementing sustainability on campus is crucial for fostering responsible citizens and ensure that the future generation can thrive. And it is our responsibility in higher education institution to equip our students with the skills, the knowledge, the attitude, and the value that is important to tackle these global challenges. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Professor Wan. All right, now, Professor Riri, I would like to come back to you. Perhaps you can elaborate it a little bit more on maybe just give a little bit of context for those who hasn't maybe familiar with what UI Green metrics are, and perhaps just give a little bit of a glimpse on how UI Green metric measure sustainability at university. Yeah, Prof. Riri, time is yours.
Okay, right. Yeah. Pardon me, it was a quite long introduction before, but UI Green Metric is a world university ranking on green and sustainable universities. We started 15 years ago on this, and it's now a global movement, making a lot of events and a lot of competition, and also knowing that we have, next slide, please. This spread of participants all over the world. Next slide, please. Yeah, and this is for the Southeast Asia, the one that I've told you before. We have a lot of universities, and we would like more and more universities to report their performance, because, for example, those universities stated by our minister today, showing that green and sustainable campus have been also the focus of new universities that is going to be a state university. They would like to have a world-class standard on providing facilities for students in order to create a condition in which the student and staff can learn new things like a circular economy. We have a lot of programs such as eco-enzyme program. For example, last year we have broke the Guinness record of what in Indonesia, we have more than 60 universities, for example, pouring producing eco-enzyme and pouring it to bodies of water in the campus. This is the real thing that is happening, and it's not because anybody else, but because of the university leaders and students are doing this. Next slide, please. This is the trend of the participation. Next slide. And this is the methodology, that setting an infrastructure, energy and climate change, waste management, water management and transportation, and as well as education and research are being reported very detailed. And also we discuss it with some universities that would like to improve their condition. Next slide, please. For example, today, Professor John White's already was also, Melbourne University was also part of UI Green Metric. And we know that, for example, they have parking park down, so you have nothing on the top, on the land, but under you have parking spaces, but it's very limited. So, for example, in our questionnaire, we asked how many % of parking spaces are being deducted that year, for example. So it's a kind of standard that would transform universities worldwide to look into this indicator, knowing that we would like to achieve this together. We know that climate change is happening everywhere. Last week, we have a very bad flooding in Jakarta, for example, in Bekasi, which is showing that everyone would have to know that green infrastructure should be provided everywhere, and it's our major concern. Next slide, please. This is participation of Southeast Asian universities. Some achieve gold cluster, which is the best cluster, 21.81%, and silver cluster and bronze cluster. This is showing that it's not only us. I'm not saying that in the beginning, when we talk in international ranking expert group 15 years ago, they were laughing because it's not the way to evaluate universities. But now, even big names that making money out of this, like some brands, they are working on this starting just 4 years ago, and also the other one starting 2 years ago, meaning that everyone understands that this is a very important thing to shape, because once you know that our students can create green jobs, can start a company that looks into green green jobs and evaluation of how the balance between the development, economic development, social impact, and environment can be adjusted and can be standardized. I mean, we can work together to ensure that that pillar of sustainability can be provided and can be done starting from university. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is just the result. We always evaluate closely how universities are doing and how better they are from other universities. I think that's always going to be very long, but yes, that's at the moment. Isra, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Riri. Now, I would like to move on to Eman. Eman, if you could tell us a little bit about the role of your institutions as the Ateneo Institute of Sustainability, on how such institutions can drive or can advocate for the sustainability policy at university level, and perhaps to generally to other level of policy in Philippines.
Okay, hi. So thank you for the question. So our institute, the Ateneo Institute of Sustainability, has been working hard on pushing for mainstreaming sustainability education, research, innovation, and stewardship primarily in our campus, but even outside the campus through our networks. So the way we do it in the Ateneo, the Manila University, is that we employ a whole of community approach. So while we have the Ateneo Institute of Sustainability, in which I'm the director, we believe that all stakeholders should be empowered in promoting and starting their own sustainability initiatives. So we believe that our office, myself, we do not hold monopoly of what sustainability is. We do not gatekeep how sustainability can be done in the university. We also see our campus as a living laboratory, and therefore we have numerous initiatives on our campus. So we also define sustainability as something beyond just the environment. So beyond the environment, we have to look at social responsibility, prosperity, just inclusive society. So that we have that triple bottom line: the environment, people, planet definition of sustainability. Maybe just so I can concretize some of these things that I'm saying, no, allow me to share my slides. So here, okay. So this is our campus. We're recognized as a leader in sustainability education in the Philippines, being the top university in the Philippines on sustainability. And as mentioned, we define sustainability just beyond the environment. The thing with doing this, of course, it's a lot easier said than done. But this is our university, but it's situated in the bustling megapolis of Metro Manila. So you would see that it has a lot of green spaces. We have the trees on the left side, but it really sits amidst the traffic, the crowded population. But nonetheless, as mentioned, we see our campus as a living laboratory, and therefore we have initiatives on waste management, on water management, on biodiversity, on energy, and on disaster resiliency. How we do this, as mentioned, it's a whole of society approach, and therefore it encompasses different layers. So this is our framework for change, in which the bottom layer highlights the things we usually do as a university. So of course, we research, we teach, we do workshops, that's capacity building. We provide assistance for policy. So that's part of our default mandate as a university. But beyond that, we move to the second layer, which is usually the most challenging for institutions, is that we engage our stakeholders, we engage the entire community. So it's not just my office. The students, the faculty, and even alumni would help us. We have structures to make things happen, and we convince the leadership on how that we need to be funded, we need to be financed with these initiatives. And with that, we believe that that we can build a culture of sustainability and resiliency. Of course, and maybe I'll end with this. As an academic institution, we highlight, of course, the role of education. So it's a lot easy. It's easy to really set up the solar panel, to set up the rainwater harvesting mechanism, but they're not there on campus just for decorations. And therefore, all our initiatives on campus are accompanied by educational materials so that the community can see it and can be proud of these initiatives. So these are not just decorations, it's for them to learn, because again, if we are a living laboratory, we do not just experiment on campus. Science does not end with experiments, it ends with communicating the results, and therefore we engage the community by showcasing what we have on campus. Maybe that's it for now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aiman. Now I would like to move on to Professor Wan. So perhaps now we have a very diverse audience from Southeast Asia and perhaps beyond as well. And I think I look at the bio of our participants. Most of them are from universities, from the higher education institutions. Perhaps Dr. Wan, if you could be kind to share the best practices at University Putra Malaysia, or any other case study in Malaysia that highlight the university initiative in Malaysia. Perhaps you could share that to audience.
Thank you very much, Isra. Thank you for having me today. As you know that you know there are many success stories in Malaysia, and of course, based on the UPM, for example, the University Putra Malaysia has been recognized as one of the most sustainable campus since 2010 through UI Green Metric University ranking. So we have been measuring this ranking that measure various aspects of the campus sustainability, and UPM has dedicated this dedication to sustainability within the strategic plan, UPM strategic plan, with a clear focus on integrating sustainability into campus and operation, research, and also learning. So, for example, in UPM, we are the number one in Malaysia for UI Green Metric, the third in Asia, and 24th in the world. I would like also to share, for example, one of the significant initiatives in UPM has undertaken the installation of the solar photovoltaic system in collaboration with our Tenaga Nasional Berhad. And this partnership actually led to the installation of solar system with across 12 locations on campus, including the mosque we have in the parking roof, and also what we call as the Surya floating solar project. And this project is considered to be the largest solar project in any of the public universities in Malaysia. And we are expecting about that we can save about 114 million ringgit in electricity across 25 years. And that actually significantly reduced the carbon footprint. We have also the energy and water consumption management, where one of the effective approach in managing its energy and water consumption to reduce the electricity usage due to the for example, with energy consumption that dropped from 36 million kilowatt to about 28 million kilowatts. So, however, the use of this solar power, which started in May 2023, has helped offset some of these increase, leading to improved energy efficiency. We also have what we call the sustainable agriculture practices, because University Putra Malaysia, the field of expertise in agriculture, for example, is the central to its sustainability effort. And we have vast agriculture research facilities to implement sustainable practices. We have rainwater harvesting, fertigation system, and organic farming. And University Putra Malaysia also had launched food security, UPM food security blueprint June last year, and this will give a good platform and a reference for our faculties to guide them in especially in food security. So and of course the waste management and carbon footprint reduction. We also focus on waste management, specifically in managing organic and non-organic and toxic waste produced in campus. And the waste is actually carefully sorted and treated, that will actually contribute to the carbon footprint. And it has also showed the reduce or decrease in scope 1 and 2 of emissions. And this also we are focusing on the reduction in electricity consumption. And of course, highlighting on the community engagement and social impact with community responsibility through programs. We have food bank, which provide essential food supplies to the underprivileged students, and involved in other outreach programs. in national food security and social welfare. So I think, and one of the highlights later that I will also share with you is how we embedding or integrating education for sustainable development in the curriculum. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Prof. Wan. So I will come back to I think your interesting points, but perhaps I would like to invite Prof. Riri. Prof. Riri, if you could share, I mean, you in your presentations as a universities like UPM are on top of the list, and then perhaps UI also on top of the list, and maybe some other universities in Southeast Asia are perhaps not there. Which we understand there might be a challenges that faced by those universities. And if you could highlight a few of challenges from those universities to achieve the good ranking, or perhaps implementing a good sustainability initiative, what would the challenges would be?
Okay, we have Professor Gunawan Cahyono today with us. He was also the initiator of UI Green Metric. So maybe Prof. Gunawan could share these challenges, Prof, please.
Yeah, sure. Prof. Gunawan, please.
Good morning, my colleagues, all of the participants which I admire. Just to remind us that ranking sets an instrument which is not an end, but a means toward a larger goal. When I exist here, I need a fresh air to breathe in order to exist. Therefore, we need to control our environment and in setting an infrastructure. But I need clean water to drink. So we need to really control the quality of our water, and I need a healthy environment. So please manage the waste, which provide an environment for the bacteria or any disease sources to grow. And then I need to move myself to other places. But I need to save the energy for my future generation as well in order to move my body to other places. So please manage the transportation, private vehicles, but use more public transportation. And then I consider myself to be very sufficient in using the energy, so my next generation will be safe. And then UI Greenmatic has a network of participants, so we can collaborate, which will fulfill the goal 17 of Sustainable Development Goals. I think that's the main point. And we need to know that when participating in sharing the experience, everybody can mutually benefit by sharing the best practices and then the worst case to be avoided. And that's our main goals for assistance in the world. But by collaborating, probably the score can be increased, but not the ranking. Ranking is dependent on how many participants is participated in the year. Possibly that is my addition. I don't know whether it's answer your question. Sorry about that.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Gunawan. Perhaps, Prof. Riri, if you have another points on highlighting the challenges of these universities to meet their targets.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Gunawan, and also Pak Nasaruddin. I think some universities now are really struggling with efficiency and making sure that the implementation of different programs can look into more detail about sustainable financing, something that have been shown. For example, the challenges in policies and regulation, such as lack of strong sustainability policies, in which we have witnessed 3 period of leadership in some universities, and some of the leaders are having different focus. And that is why in implementing green programs, they have to learn new things again and would like to introduce something new. However, we need sustainability also in all programs. In funding and infrastructure, everyone face limited budget for sustainability projects. We ask for sustainable building, smart building. Of course, that is taking a lot of university budget for that. But we know that the future of AI and implementation of transformation based on digital technology will need a lot of funding for that. And that is why we also strongly ask university to provide and show that they have done a lot of things in terms of making sure that smart buildings, which have a look into how we can efficiently manage the university, having thermal comfort that can be controlled. A lot of programs in this. So in energy and resource efficiency, it is something that is very important to look into, and how we can monitor everything and create report on that, how we can efficiently spend resources, but achieve a better facilities for students and staff to perform well. And also some awareness and participation. A low engagement from students and staff in sustainability initiatives is something that we see now, because it's like already common. But we know that some universities have to also educate their students again and again that this plastic bottle should be processed, that you have to use different way to save energy and to save and not to consume the most plastic and water and paper, for example. And also lack of environmental education and awareness campaign. Some maybe already think that is already common, but actually not everyone understand how it should be done. So we have to keep learning from the past, because we should not invent the wheel, but really do the things that is really required. So these are the sustainability challenges. A limited budget is number one. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Prof. Riri. I would like to draw from the one of the point Prof. Riri's mentions about awareness and participations, and perhaps jump into Eman. Based on your experience in the institute, how do you usually create more awareness and participations among students, faculties to basically support the sustainability initiatives? How basically to make it mainstream in the campus ecosystems?
Okay, great. Thanks, Isra. Yes, that's actually a challenge on helping everyone transition to a more sustainable lifestyle. So what works in our experience in Ateneo de Manila is that we are looking at the context of the students, and we do it in phased or in parts. Okay, so what I mentioned first is that we look at their context on what works for them. We try to make it a smooth transition as possible. I do not think anyone wakes up and say, I don't want to be sustainable today. At the same time, it's when we ask people who would like to be sustainable today, maybe we'll get some mixed reaction or silence. So it means that people do not want to be sustainable. It's just they're looking for ways on how to make it more palatable and accessible to them. So for example, one particular instance I can think of is that in 2011, we took out all the disposables in the cafeteria, like the single-use paper plates, spoon, fork. We took them all away, and we encourage everyone to bring their own food containers. Back then, you can imagine it's not that mainstream, and so it was met with a lot of it's met a lot of
Sorry, Eman, I think
challenges
your voice is breaking up a little bit.
community. So
Hello?
what we had to do later on, we have usable. You hear me now?
Yeah, I think it's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is that we had to make it palatable and accessible to everyone. So, for example, instead of directly removing the single-use materials in the cafeteria, we had to provide a transition phase in 2011. And later on, we had to incentivize those who are bringing food containers. So we had to work with the context of the community who are immersed with the convenience. So we had to juggle with convenience and social responsibility by providing ways for everyone to take part in it. Part of the challenge also is convincing the administration. So uh, we had to tell them on reasons that perhaps are aligned to what their vision is for the university. So, for example, by financing it would boost support from our donors, or even this can boost also our branding as a university. So we had to really deal with different stakeholders and make sure that how we sell sustainability to them, especially when we were starting, is aligned with their own vision. So we have our own materiality assessment on what the community values and what the university values. And we had to compare these two parties side by side. Thank you, Isra.
All right. Thank you, Eman. I would like to move on to Professor Wan. Prof. Wan, so yep, I think it's also related to what Prof. Riri mentions about funding and the support from the university leadership. And to what extent do you think the support from university leadership is important? And in the case of, maybe you can tell a little bit of in the case of UPM, and perhaps what would you suggest to universities who are perhaps not yet getting the necessary support from university leadership to implement a sustainability initiative? To Prof. Wan, please.
Thank you, Isra. I do believe that strong leadership support is crucial. Not just important, it's crucial in driving sustainability initiatives in the university campuses. And when leadership actively support the sustainability, it ensures the alignment with institutional goals. That's why when earlier I mentioned we have it in our strategic plan, and that it will, with the institutional goal, it will secure necessary resources, and at the same time fostering the culture of sustainability throughout the campus. And strategic alignment, for example, support from the campus leadership will eventually determine the success and sustainability of the sustainability initiatives. And when campus leadership champions sustainability, it ensures that sustainability goals align with its institution mission and long-term objectives. So this integration leads to more focused, cohesive efforts across different departments at all levels. So from research to curriculum development, to students' activities and experiences in the campus. So without this alignment, sustainability initiatives may lack direction and, how to say, fail to be prioritized if without the alignment. And of course, as mentioned by Prof. Uri just now, resource allocation is also important, and resource allocation and financial support, where leadership plays a key role in securing the financial resources necessary to implement the sustainability projects. By advocating for funding, this will adopt to technologies and practices that promote sustainability. For example, as I mentioned earlier, on the renewable energy system and waste reduction program. And just now, our speakers also mentioned about having smart campus and all. So without such support, sustainability efforts may be also hindered due to this lack of funding and resources. And in order to emphasize more, policy development and advocacy should be highlighted. It is essential in shape the leadership. It is essential to shape policies and prioritize sustainability within the institution. So effective policies can include goals for carbon neutrality, waste reduction, and sustainable building practices. And not just in the campus, it can also advocate for sustainability at regional and national, or even working together closely with international level. So it is within the alignment with a broader goal, right? And support in terms of campus-wide campus culture and engagement for sustainability. Those leaders who prioritize sustainability can motivate students, staff, and faculty to engage in sustainability practice, both on and off campus. So, for example, with our University Putra Malaysia blueprint for food security, for example, the awareness and the knowledge is shared at every level, from the staff, from students, to the faculty. So if the leadership does not prioritize sustainability, this engagement also may be minimal, and initiative may lack of widespread support. Capacity building and training, that is also important, because we need to ensure both staff and students have that knowledge and skills to contribute to sustainability goals. These will include providing training opportunities through continuous professional development, funding sustainability research, and again, integrating it into the curriculum. And I also believe that, collaboration with external partnership, like what we have right now today, leadership can drive collaboration with external stakeholders, with government agencies, NGOs, and other industry partners. Also, this through this kind of SDSN network. And this partnership can not just only as a potential collaborators, but also can bring additional resources, expertise, opportunities for students and faculties. So again, leadership is fundamental, is crucial, is essential to drive into driving and sustaining and scaling sustainability initiatives.
All right, thank you, Prof. Wan. So I think it's very interesting discussions, and I think Prof. Wan raised a very crucial points on leaderships. And perhaps Prof. John is still here. Thank you so much for staying. Maybe you can give a little bit of comments of your observations for the discussions, and perhaps I think it is also maybe if you could highlight a little bit on the leadership part and how to basically build up that at the university level, so then things will move so much easier for the university.
I agree that leadership is absolutely critical. The challenge is that some leaders are naturally more supportive of sustainability than others. And I think the really big challenge is, what do you do at a time when you have a leader that's less committed? And I also think we've got an external challenge now where, partly because of Donald Trump, but what's happening in Europe is really changing the politics of the world so much that there's less of a focus on climate action and sustainability. So my answer as to what to do is a bit like, I think it was Emmanuel saying, you've got to find something that you know the leadership thinks is important, like attracting staff, attracting students, philanthropy, because different leaders will be attracted to different things. So you have to be flexible, I think. Having said all of that, the fundamental push for sustainability and climate action is not going to go away. We're seeing, the world last year already more than 1.5 degrees warmer. We're seeing major weather disasters around the world. And so the argument that people say, well, we've got to focus on something else for the short term, I think we can counter by saying that these are such deep, ongoing megatrends that if the university doesn't act now, we're going to be at risk in the future. So I guess the short answer is you've got to find whatever it is that the leadership of your university most supports. The other thing is putting in place institutional mechanisms. So we now have a committee, a high-powered committee of our university council on ESG, and that meets, and I'm actually on that committee, and that meets every 2 months. And because it's a committee of the council, it has a lot of status, and because it's an institutional part of the university, major decisions have to go through it. So I think setting in place an institutional arrangement that is going to put a priority on sustainability is very important.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof. John. I think now we're soon move to the Q&A sessions. But before that, I would like to also perhaps call upon our Professor Matt Hansen. Professor Matt Hansen is the chair of faculty at UID and Tsinghua Southeast Asia Centers. Thank you so much, Prof. Matt. He's in Sweden, and it's I think 4 a.m. now, 3 a.m. So perhaps, Prof. Mats, if you could give a little bit of comments about what we just discussed, that would be appreciated. So Prof. Mats, time is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm actually in Sweden right now, and it's 4 a.m. in the morning. So, but normally I also spend my time in Indonesia, in Bali, together with UID as the chair of faculty, as Isa said. And I'm going to, should I present the new initiative right now? Or?
Maybe it's later on, Prof. Mats, but now maybe you could give a little bit of comments on the things that we just discussed here.
Yeah, I think it's so important to think about these SDGs. And if I also comment from my experience back in Sweden, we have been working with sustainability for many, many years, decades, I will say. And these environmental issues are really in focus in Sweden. And I think also that we have a lot of to rely also on the industry. So the industry side is also in parallel what we can do at the university level. I think from my perspective, also the industry is really important. So that's one comment. I also want to comment on the leadership part, because I think that's also crucial, that the leadership. And as many of you already pointed out, John, the funding. You need to have resources to make this transition. So it's many aspects, and I think it's a great webinar so far. And I will come back later on to present a new initiative in Indonesia that I'm leading.
All right, thank you so much, Prof. Mats. We'll come back to you later on. So now we move on to the Q&A sessions. Maybe colleague, can you share the screen of the list of the questions? So we will have approximately around 20 minutes of the Q&A sessions. There's a few questions here and then a few other coming up. So maybe I would give the liberty to our speakers to choose which question you think very interesting to answer. Maybe I would start with Prof. Riri first. Prof. Riri, I think the first question from Angel is for you. So perhaps Prof. Riri, you could maybe I can read out loud as well. I would like to ask, what is the variable UE green metric used in scoring the university sustainable practices? So that's a question from Angel. So Prof. Riri, maybe.
Yes, okay. The 6 indicator can, as I show you before, that we have 6 very simple indicator in setting an infrastructure, and in waste management, in water management, energy and climate change mitigation, green transportation, as well as research and education on sustainability. And all this is really a base for university to think about how they can go from one stage to another stage, in which we have the bottom line and also the average performance of university. For example, we ask for how many courses are based on sustainability, in which they have to put that into that curriculum, and therefore we initiate a standard in which all the universities lecturer should look into some or in their curriculum, in their coursework, also to put sustainability into attention. And also other things in research and performance. For example, we work together with Elsevier data, for example, so that we know and the indication of how university performs in their production of publication based on sustainability. For example, SDG number 1, 2, 3, 4 is all being classified from the keywords being used by university lecturers and researchers. That shows how a university contribute to the knowledge in the world. And this a prime good example are always being shown, for example, in the way we can manage to have more and more variables. But performance. But we know that once it's being evaluated every year, we increase the level in which the average university should achieve, so that everyone have always things that new things in the university, new efforts that they could report in our metric. So yes, please learn and please join us. You can visit Green Metric at ui.ac.id and our websites, and it's all there. All meetings and reports and everything is readily available in our website, including all meetings and all best practices sharing by universities. So please join us, Ibu Angel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Riri. Now perhaps to Iman. So Iman, so I would love to know how much participation rate of student at Ateneo, the Manila University during sustainability related activities. It could be in events, could be any other engagement. How do you rate the student participations? And perhaps if you could compare that to a typical participation rate across Southeast Asia.
Okay, thank you, Isra. Maybe I'd like to answer the question, but maybe I'll also answer another question, which is directed to Ateneo on the car congestion. As you saw in the pictures, where we are situated, the Katipunan Avenue is really a hotbed for traffic. So how we deal with it is we advocate for multimodal mobility. So we have Egypt on campus as the one who asked, mentioned here. We're also developing a centralized hub outside the campus for transportation. We are in the push for reducing number of cars on campus by 2030. Since I assumed my role as director in the institute, we have been working day and night on building a sustainable university master plan. And maybe this is relatable to other universities as well, wherein we have a lot of plans. We have a lot of master plans on energy, on infrastructure, but they are disconnected from one another. So what we're doing in our office is we're trying to link all of these to a big plan that will be evaluated in the short term in 3 years, in the medium term by 2030, and in the long term by 2050. On the question on student participation, with all these initiatives that we're doing, we are really hoping for good student participation. For on-site events, usually we would have for major plenaries, we would have students ranging from 100 to 250, which I suppose is fine. But more than, of course, the number of participants, what we're after is continued engagement. So we provide opportunities for internships after, and we're happy that quite a number stay to have the internships. One quick note, we are also doing a university-wide study on assessing the knowledge, behavior, and attitude of not just students, but even employees on sustainability. So we'll have outcomes of this study, which is being done by my colleague Chris by the end of the year. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Iman. Now to Professor Wan. So it's the questions, maybe it's a bit too technical, but I think it's okay. And if you can have that answer, and also perhaps you can have another question as well on the last questions. So first question is based on field data, how many waste has been sorted, and what is the disposal plan for those waste? So perhaps you could just generally explain on how waste management are treated at UPM. Yeah, and perhaps you could also answer the second questions on how can partnership with the government enhance the initiative for education for sustainable development. All right.
Okay,
Prof.
thank you very
Tani,
much. Thank you very much for the question. So for UPM, for example, as I mentioned that we are managing the organic, non-organic, and toxic waste. For example, if we have the organic waste, it's about, let's say, about 700 tons, for example. So it's for organic waste, we treat accordingly based on the volume. So organic waste produce 700 tons, so we treat that 700 tons. I don't have the technical data here, but we will. I mean, some of the information can be found in our UPM sustainability website. Regarding the how can partnership with government enhance initiative for education for sustainable development? For example, I think the most important, the crucial area that we need to highlight when we talk about partnership with the government and initiative is the advancing policy, because we know that education for sustainable development, there are 5 priority areas: advancing policy, building capacity of educators, empowering and mobilizing youth, transforming the learning environment, and accelerating the current local action. So advancing policy is the first priority area in education for sustainable development, where, for example, in Malaysia, in August 2024, the Malaysian Qualification Agency has published a new guideline on how we should embed education for sustainable development in the curriculum, where the Malaysian Qualification Framework 2.0 in 2024 edition highlighted on the 4 elements that should be embedded in the curriculum. One is on the flexible learning pathway, global sustainability agenda, values-based education, and also the harmonizing the existing framework. So in UPM, for example, we have started the process of embedding this education for sustainable development key competencies into all programs. So we are targeting that by this year that we should be able, to integrate the ESD competencies in all our program, because we know that ESD is the education where learners the education that emphasize on how learners acquire the knowledge, the skill, the attitude and values to make informed decision and to take action on the sustainable future. So with that initiative from the government is nationwide, all higher education or will be embedding this in their every level of education in Malaysia.
All right. Thank you, Prof. Wan. Perhaps I would like to invite Prof. John Twites for this Q&A sessions. So first, I think two questions. First questions, what are the big challenges has Monash University faced in implementing sustainable campus initiative? And then perhaps second one, you can tap upon as well, how can partnership with the government enhance the initiatives? Yeah, Prof. John's time is yours.
Our goal is to be net zero and to have all our electricity supplied by renewables by 2030. The challenge for Monash in achieving that was there's simply not enough room on the campus to have sufficient solar to fully replace all electricity. So we put 5 megawatts of solar on the campus, which is pretty much the maximum we could have. And then the rest of our renewables we've got through purchasing jointly with other partners from a wind farm. So we've done a power purchase agreement with a number of other partners to purchase all the energy from the wind farm. And I think that's an important solution for universities to look at other partners. So we actually partnered with local government in that power purchase agreement. But it may well be with other industry or other parts of government. You can find partners who will jointly invest in renewables. So that's the first challenge and solution. The second big challenge we face is how to get off gas, which is a huge problem for us because we rely on gas in more than 100 buildings, and it's very expensive to take that out and electrify the building. And I think the lesson for universities in that is when you are building new buildings to ensure that you think about the future and you don't lock in fossil fuel investment in the building, whether it's gas or coal. So what we're doing on that is we are progressively removing the gas from all these buildings, but that will take about 15 years to do all of that. The third challenge is around funding and finance, and I think that's the challenge that everyone faces, because it's quite easy to do a few small pilot projects, but to shift a whole large university to net zero costs hundreds of millions of dollars. And we at Monash have already invested about $600 million in doing this. And we have raised money using climate bonds. And I think that's something that needs to be considered by universities around the world, how they can get access to green finance and blended finance. But certainly it's been worthwhile for us to do that. And then the other question you asked was around partnerships with government. A lot of our projects have been partly funded by government because government has wanted not just to see a university shift, but also to do some research that government can use to better inform other precincts. And so we have got government funding for our smart grid, which is a smart way to distribute the electricity around the campus. And the government is interested in that because they believe that that can be replicated in not just other universities, but other industry parks, for example, or in other regions of the country. And so they've put some funding into that together with industry to be really a living lab, a research or a research sandpit to determine what's the best way to do that. So I think governments are really important partners, especially if you're doing something innovative.
All right. Thank you, Prof. Chan Twice. So we now move on to our last sections. So perhaps I would like to come back to all of our speakers with the very short answer on my last question. So I think I would like to try to give one question that's very practical. So imagine that I'm from the universities in Indonesia who leadership in my university will never been exposed to this sustainability related but I'm willing to start the initiative at my universities. What would be like your practical suggestions that I can do perhaps in the short terms and in the long terms? So maybe each of the speakers can answer these questions as our conclusion in 1 minute. So maybe I'll start off with Prof. Riri. So Prof. Riri, what would be your practical solutions and advice to me as a representative from one of the higher educations that would like to start the initiatives?
Can you repeat again, Fa?
Yeah, so imagine I'm a representative from universities somewhere in Indonesia that would like to start the sustainability initiative in my campus, but not yet has a leadership's directions and so on. So what would be your like practical suggestions in the short terms and also in the long term for me? In 1 minute, Prof. Riri. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think it's better for you to contact us so that we can contact your university rectors. Because we know that leadership is very important. This data from university for UI Green Metric come from the university rector and all the higher leadership in the university because they have to gather all data from all the university. But every university, we work together with Director of Sustainability. But if you are one of the member of the faculty, better to start your own campaign on sustainability that can be reported, and then that will trigger your university leader to know that you have a university lecturer and their leadership to move forward to make sustainability a great agenda in the university. But we hope that we can ask more and more university rectors to report so that they can lead the university towards the standards that being implemented all over the world. So that is my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Riri. So everyone, so please do contact UI Green Metrics if you want to learn more about this. And Eman, do you have practical suggestions in 1 minute?
Okay, thank you, Isra. I'm having a hard time answering the question, and it's because I think that sustainability initiative should be grounded in our context, in our realities. I don't think there's a template on how to be sustainable, and I actually feel strongly about this. Like whenever we say that we want greener campuses, people often default to buying solar panels, which is good. That's a good initiative. But we can move to decolonialize sustainability by looking at ways on how on the indigenous and cultural practices which are available to us that advance sustainability. I strongly believe that. Like for example, the journey of Ateneo de Manila started really with just waste audit. No master plan, really just want to work on diminishing the waste on campus. And how did we do that? It's really the students and faculty coming together and who conducted the waste audit analyzing what portions of waste are comprise majority of our garbage, and with that we can formulate policies. Like we have to downscale and eventually eliminate some of the resources. And I'll end with this. And when the administration saw the outcomes, they were convinced by it. Administrators are convinced by outcomes, by solutions, by data. And so when they saw the outcomes, they're convinced by it and they finance it moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Iman. Prof. Wan, perhaps if you could share the last point.
Thank you very much. I strongly believe that we should focus on the higher education. The core business of higher education is teaching and learning, academics, research and services. So through education for sustainable development, ESD, can be closely tied to research and services also on campus. So by integrating sustainability into academic programs, research initiative, and university services, we want we want to develop the culture, the ecosystem on sustainability amongst staff and students, and we want to provide that opportunity and experiences on sustainability to the students through by design and not by chance. So this can only happen through integration in the curriculum. And when in the short term, the university can encourage the faculties and students to undertake sustainability related projects and that address local and global challenges in their learning activities. And then moving toward to the long term, that should focus on developing the interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research that dedicated to sustainability. This will create that we want to ensure that this approach will to ensure that education, research, and services work together to empower students and staff to make meaningful contribution to sustainable development.
All right, thank you, Professor Wan. Now last one, Prof. John Thwaites, if you could have like the last word on perhaps give a practical advice to all of the audience here.
I think a practical advice would be to show the leader what has been achieved in another university. Universities they're quite competitive, but they do want to learn from what other universities are doing. So I would find 2 or 3 universities in the context, so probably in the same country, but maybe an overseas one as well, that show what can be achieved and inspire the leader to think that their university can do better. That'd be the first thing. The second thing I'd do would be to try to get a commitment to sustainability and to net zero in the university's strategy or plan, so that the university, when it is doing its normal business planning, has that objective. And the third thing I would do would be to ensure you mobilize students and faculty who are supportive behind it and create events that are going to get those faculty members and students calling for this from the university leadership.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof. Jones. And perhaps from me, another practical advice: if your university hasn't joined SDSN network, please do so. So check our links at SDSN or SDSN and join with, in Southeast Asia, we have more than 120 network across Southeast Asia region, and Timor-Leste. And in the world, we have a network of 1,800 universities across the world. So that also will create like another networks of universities and expertise that we can share best practices. All right, now I would like to move to the last sections, and perhaps we'll apologize if we delay for about 5 minutes. I would like to invite Professor Matt Hansen. Professor Matt Hansen is the chair of faculties of the United University Foundations, as well as the Tsinghua Southeast Asia Centers. Professor Matt is also professor from KTH Royal Institute of Technology from Sweden, to share a little bit about our new initiative with UIDs, and Tsinghua Southeast Asia centers in Indonesia. And Prof. Mats, time is yours.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. I want to share with you a new initiative from UID and TC that is very much in line with this webinar. So if you can share the screen on my presentation, it will be very good. It's a long-term initiative to transform Indonesian universities into engines for sustainable economic development. And please share my presentation, Alexander. Someone?
Hold on. Yeah.
Israel, would you share my presentation?
Yeah, we're trying to share of 10 seconds. All right.
Yeah. So this initiative was coming up a year ago when we realized that the Indonesian universities need to transform to better fulfill the ideas of. Yeah, thank you so much. So this new initiative is called Transforming Indonesian Universities into Engines for Economic Development and Sustainability. So next slide, please. Yeah, this one. So this is very much in line with the government's goal of the Golden Indonesia Vision 2045. And as many of you said, it will be crucial to have improvements in the higher education. And on the figure to the right, it's also obvious that we have to integrate the higher education with research, basic research with discoveries, and also with innovation and entrepreneurship. And this is have been done in many different universities around the world. And the idea is coming up from Professor Ed Crawley at MIT and myself and some other scholars around the world. And we try also to anchor this initiative in the government. And I'm so happy that the Minister of Religion Affairs was in the webinar today. But we are also working with the Minister of Education, Science and Technology. So next slide, please. So we call it that most of universities as engines for national development. And we have some models, and I'm coming back to the knowledge exchange, because we think that we need to have exchange between many different actors or stakeholders in the higher education system. We were talking about the leadership from the universities and leadership in general. And the leadership need also a kind of structured professional education. And as you might know, UID and TC are focusing on professional education. We use a worldwide methodology or framework called the CDIO. And if you haven't heard about CDIO, please go to the website cdio.org and you can learn more. I don't have the time today to explain, but I'm coming back a little bit more. Next slide, please. The approach is that we, at the UID and TC, we will lead this transformation program. And the target is university leaders, and we want to prepare them for this transformation, both to sustainability, but also economic development or national development. We have a lot of effective practices that we have been used for 25, 30 years. and it has been developed over time with a lot of universities around the world. So we want to use these best practices and transfer it to Indonesia. Next slide, please. So here's the model of the knowledge exchange. On the left side, we have the faculty, students, administrators, what have you, the resources. In the middle, we have education, research, and innovation. And then we have the knowledge exchange to the partners in industry, government, enterprises, what have you. And the impact is the outcome, the economic and social, cultural development. And of course, in consideration of sustainability. Through this knowledge exchange model, you can see the work packages, VP1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are now developing or adopting these work packages to the Indonesian context. So you can see the leadership and management, but you can also see the importance of digital AI upscaling for everyone, and so on and so forth. So we have expertise now in all these areas to integrate different types of activities like seminars, workshops, conferences, and focusing very much on curricular development, on undergraduate and graduate programs in all these universities in Indonesia. I learned that we have over 3,000 universities in Indonesia, so, and we are starting right now. Next slide, please. So how to participate in the program? We have just initiated it, and we have contacts with around 10 universities now in Indonesia, but we want to expand to maybe 100 in a few years. The first step is to learn what we try to achieve. And so we have open access materials, so learning resources that is open to everyone, open source. If a university wants to make this transformation of the curriculum in some way, engineering programs or other programs, we have the connect stage when you have a active dialogue together. And then if the university decide that this is a good initiative, we are going into a very active phase, the accelerate phase. So it's a partnership program. So in the accelerate phase, you are an active partner together with us. The next slide, please. So in summary, we have the best practices, different solutions, and we want to work together. We want to be present in all regions in Indonesia, and that's actually from the Ministry of Education and Science and Technology. The minister said it's really important to reach out in all regions in Indonesia. And as I said, if we have 3,000 different universities, we are in different maturity levels. And as we discussed in this webinar, it's the same in the recognition of sustainability goals. The universities are in different levels, but we are open to all maturity levels. And we are going to also analyze the readiness level before we start, so we know where we are going to start. And we are doing this by this stakeholder analysis and assessment. And we hope to scale up this over five years to come to involve more than maybe 100, 200, 300 universities in Indonesia. And we already have in the CDIO initiative over 200 universities around the world, including Monash. John, Monash is one university that we are working with in this CDIO initiative. and also Tsinghua, MIT, Stanford, KTH around the world. So we can use best practices. And we have actually published over, I think, 300 papers on different conferences with the results from this kind of transformation of engineering and other curriculum. So as I said, the scope is mostly curriculum design in bachelor and master programs. So I think I stop there, maybe one question or two if we have the time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Mas Hansen. So, but unfortunately, I think we ran out of time. But feel free for those who would like to ask questions and collaborate. I dropped the Matt, if you don't mind, I drop your email here,
Yeah,
and
please
also
do.
my email as well. So if all of the participants, if you would like to understand more about our initiative, please do shoot an email to Professor Maximin and also to my email as well. We're so happy to answer questions and perhaps discuss more detail on this initiative. Again, apologize for running off a little bit of time for everyone. But thank you so much for making your time. Again, Prof. Matt Hansen, thank you so much for staying very early in the morning from Sweden. And Prof. John Twice, also thank you so much. Prof. Wan, Dr. Iman, and also Prof. Riri, Prof. Gunawan, and all of the audience, colleagues who already join in for our webinar. Before we sign off, maybe everyone, you could turn on your camera so we can have like a photo sessions as if we're on the webinar hall. So so everyone's please, if possible, to turn on your camera. And all right, so let's take a picture. Teams ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, another page. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And again, and have a good day and have a good rest of the day and perhaps enjoy weekends. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prof. Gun. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Ya,
Thank you.
terima kasih dari
Thank
Kuala Lumpur. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Prof.
Terima kasih,
Mazlin.
Datuk.
Thank you, Prof. Isra.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon.